Welcome to the back office. I'm Dalayna Dillon, the founder and creative director of Signify Marketing, and this is where you sit in on real strategy. Each episode, we step into side of active businesses and we have honest conversations about marketing, growth, leadership, and the things that are happening behind the scenes. So no one has it fully figured out, but we are building anyway. And today, I'm joined by Matt and Abbi Lee, the owners of Divine Health and Wellness in downtown Sapulpa. If you've never been to downtown Sapulpa, this is the perfect reason to come down here. Together, they've built a thriving wellness practice that's helping people pursue healthier lives through personalized care while also navigating something many entrepreneurs know very well, building a business together as husband and wife. So that makes it another little dynamic there. So Matt actually comes from a background in primary care, and Abbi has served in leadership roles across several organizations. And so today we're going to talk about growing a business, building a team, working together, and expanding into new markets, and balancing family along the way. And you just had to put one more thing on top of that.
Right.
So welcome, Matt and Abbi. Why don't you all both just start out by telling us a little bit more about you? I know, Matt, I said you started in primary care, but I'm sure there's a lot more
Sure.
to it than that. You're born and raised Sapulpa, yes?
In this actually
Area.
I was actually born in the whatever the hospital was called then, Bartlett Memorial Hospital in Sapulpa. So
Okay.
yes, that is the origin of my story.
We're in a few miles from down the road, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So tell us where you started from, took off from there.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you for the invite today. We're looking forward to this, and just to tell our story about how we got started and where we are now, and kind of the process and journey along the way. So yeah. So small town guy. Raised in, I think our small town was 1,100 people, and but didn't let that hold me back. I had great family support, and college was never an if, it was, yeah, you're going. And so really realized that through athletics, actually, and then academics as well. So got my start as a nurse, and then went directly into nurse practitioner school at the University of Oklahoma. Hate to date myself, but that was I've been out for 23 years now, so
Wow.
practicing medicine. So yeah, so there's a little bit about my backstory. So.
And then did y'all meet at what point in this process?
Oh boy, what a story! Would you like to expound on that?
Yeah, I mean, so you were working primary care at the time, and one of the nurses who I was friends with, her and her husband, introduced us, set us up on a blind double date with them over sushi, and the rest is kind of history from there.
Okay, so blind date.
Yep.
Sort of,
So
kind of.
we had met in passing before then, but had never really had a full conversation.
Well, so were you from this area too, Abbi?
So I was born in Tulsa, and then my dad worked for Walmart at the time, and so we moved every 6 months.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was changing schools every 6 months, and then when I was in end of middle school, beginning of high school, he quit to become a youth pastor.
Oh.
And so we settled in Virginia for a while, and I came back this way for college, and actually came back to Tulsa to help my grandparents with their business. And I thought I would wind up in New York City, and met him, and now I live in rural Oklahoma. So
Okay, that I'm thinking. So the New York City thing, is that where some of where was that leading? Like, why New York City?
I think I've always been a city person.
Okay.
I thrive in like those sorts of environments. My background is in nonprofit, and so I thought I would be doing something with this. I also have a background in missions, and so I love being around other cultures and learning about people, and so that was just kind of what I had in the back of my mind. That's where I would land.
But you met Matt, and then what did life look like after
Yeah,
that?
so I met you while I was working at the Tulsa Health Department as an epidemiologist.
So you were kind of in health.
I was in public health.
Okay.
Yep. So I was working with numbers, education, things like that. And I got out of that and went into nonprofit for a while, and now I'm back in public health leadership type role.
So what role are you in now?
So beyond what we do for the clinic, obviously Matt is more involved in the day to day.
Yeah.
I get brought in on some of the bigger decisions, but I am the public health officer for Muskogee Nation, the tribe here in Tulsa.
So I think it's interesting too how you kind of have circulated around health. I mean,
yes, it's always been a part of my life for sure. So I'm also a certified yoga instructor.
Uh-huh.
So a friend of mine and we get to lead groups of women on wellness retreats across the world, really. And so that's kind of brought in like my passion for travel and culture and things like that too.
Yeah, well, a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to the multi-passionate.
Yeah.
Is that what we call multi-passionate
For sure.
type of thing? Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. Okay, so then you were in primary care. How did we get here to Divine?
So actually, I was in primary care for, I believe, 12 years. And I was in urgent care, actually. And I do have a background in urgent care, emergency medicine as well. And was in urgent care during COVID. And just being really honest, got super burned out.
Yeah.
We were married with 2 kids at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I worked for a corporation at that point, and in the back, I don't know, in the back of my mind, I thought potentially there could be a time where we owned our own clinic.
Yeah.
And I came home one evening, and I think that I had seen like 60 or 70 patients in a day during COVID, and I just said we got to do something different.
Yeah.
And through her support, sometimes I blamed her for that support, by the way, because I was like, why in the world did you ever, encourage me to do this? Just because it's so much, heavy lifting up front.
Yeah.
As I know that we'll get into, but and then through the support of some really, really good friends, really just kind of pushed us and helped us even find the location and settle in Sapulpa. And so we took the leap of faith. And for the first, I believe, 18 months of the clinic, continued to have my urgent care job, and then put all the money that the clinic was making right back into the clinic.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of long hours, early mornings, late nights. And then I remember the first day that I paid myself, and it was 18 months after opening the doors, and it felt really
That's
weird.
exciting.
Yeah. So, but now that we will celebrate 5 years as a business this fall. And
5 years?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Isn't
my
that
goodness,
crazy?
that
I
is
know, I feel like we've known
crazy.
you. You've kind of been
Yeah.
in this journey with
For
us for
sure.
a bit. So
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
So a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, lots of lots of learning lessons.
Yeah.
And a lot of discovery about myself. And I would even say that it's strengthened our marriage, our relationship, just because.
For the most part. There have been those times where we've had to really learn through this process for
Yes.
sure. So.
Yeah, and I can go in a lot of depth just as far as, what the person that I am today is nowhere near the person that I was when we started. And I think it's just a lot of, and I'm going to bring in God here in my faith, but a lot of just lessons and trials that really has caused me to lean into my faith and kind of I don't know, overarching story maybe with that is not putting any ceiling on us, our business, our family, which I had admittedly done the majority of my life. And so once that kind of realization came along, I said, we're taking, every potential opportunity to allow this business to be what God intended it to be.
Yeah. That is so good. So I want to go back a little bit
Sure.
to the fact that you were working, well, kind of like a pinnacle moment was COVID, you working in the urgent care. I think so many people in the medical field can relate to being so
bet.
burnt out
Yeah.
after that season and just
Yeah.
knowing something needed to change.
Yeah.
But they don't all go open their own.
No, right. Yeah.
So, what did you really want to do? Like, what was it that you wanted to do differently that
Yeah.
really set it apart?
I believe that, and I still believe this, that people were searching for different answers
Yeah.
um, to overall health and wellness.
Mhm.
And not to go on any rabbit trails or anything like that, but I think it really opened the door to some of the things that I believed in,
Yeah.
and pertaining to health and wellness, and uh, being able to take kind of the handcuffs off a little bit.
Yeah.
Not always kind of giving the corporate response to how to treat someone, right?
Mhm.
And I think that one of the good things that came out of COVID is that people were kind of looking and searching for maybe a little bit different experience when it comes to medicine and their overall health journey.
Yeah.
And so, um,
And if I can just add to that too, I mean, we always tell people we fell in love when we were serving in Haiti. And so service has always been a part of our relationship. And so we've always felt like that was a calling for us. It's something we try to implement within our family. And so healthcare and this wellness journey for us has been a way to serve our community.
Yeah.
And so I think that has been a part of it too. We get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
yeah, no, and thank you for bringing that up too, because it's such a good reminder that um, when you talk about culture and you start talking about into, okay, what do you want your business to be known for? And as corny or ironic or whatever you want to call it, I wanted I wanted for people to have a different feel, a different journey, a different I don't know, whenever they left here, experience. Whenever they left here, or whether that it was in person or in telehealth, I wanted them to feel loved.
Yeah.
And as weird as that sounds, and I know for most people that they don't necessarily look for that experience whenever
Right.
they go to their healthcare practitioner, but I wanted that to be kind of like what our clients, our patients, really left with.
Yeah.
There's something different about that clinic, but I don't know exactly what it was, but I like it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to go back. And
Right.
I want to. That's the place that I feel like I'm welcome
Mhm.
and
I'm listening to.
listen to. Sure, because I think a lot of times, especially for people that we get to sit down and speak with, is that they don't feel heard, and we just wanted to make sure that that's what people were doing, people were feeling whenever they came in and were seeing him. And so that, and just a culture that was um, about the patient's journey, and then also the staffing as far as like, hey, we're gonna love on each other like family. That doesn't mean we always get along, but we're not gonna always see eye to eye, but we are going to be supportive for what this business stands for. So culture was a really, really big thing, and I'm glad to say now that our staff, I would put them up against anyone.
Yeah.
I've been so completely blessed with the staff here, and they get the whole kind of mission, and they get the whole kind of vision.
Yeah.
And they also put up with a lot of my creative ideas that I oftentimes come back with. So,
I'm thankful for other people to help carry that burden.
Yes.
yeah, because Abby has to hear all about it, right? Because I mean, I think as a supportive wife in launching, truly, I would say that I'm the kind of the visionary.
Yeah.
Hey, this is where we're going. This is what I feel like that we need to be focused on. Now let's figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And so I know I burden Abby with that on a lot of occasions, but
We
truly,
joke because he's a morning person and I am not a morning person. And so he'll get up at 5 and start thinking. And then he'll want to share that with me at that time of day.
Yeah.
And my brain is not working at that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So, but it truly has. It's truly been a great experience, and yeah, I wouldn't even, and I want to be kind of clear how I say this. I don't believe that failure really is even an option.
Mm.
And the reason why I bring that up is because failure so often is looked upon as a negative thing.
Hmm.
And I once was kind of in that camp of, oh, I can't fail. I'm afraid to fail. And it holds people back from actually being able to have the success that they really want.
Yeah.
But that fear of failure actually causes them to hesitate, causes them to kind of be kind of resist whatever it takes, to kind of take that next step, and really kind of taking in that whole mindset that, okay, failure really is just an opportunity to learn,
Yeah.
and so you either succeed or you
Or
learn,
you learn.
and
Yeah.
so it's never that, oh my gosh, that didn't work, so I must not know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And then also to kind of go along with that is you aren't going to know what you're doing. Every decision that you have to make, you're not going to know exactly the right step to take.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not know all the answers at that point. But realize that
It's
along the
also
way.
okay to feel anxious and nervous about it and still move forward
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Because I
for
think
sure.
that's one thing I think people are always waiting for.
It feels right.
Yeah,
When it feels right.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I'm confident, but
Yeah.
that is not necessarily how you make decisions.
Right.
It can't be, because you'll never, paralysis by analysis kind of a
Yes.
situation. And that is really, really true. And just being okay with it.
Yeah.
And so, and I said it earlier, but the way that I made decisions and the way that I approached the daily kind of task and the things that needed to happen, um, year one versus now at year five
Yeah. Yeah.
is completely different.
Yeah.
And again, I still don't know all the answers, and I'm admittedly, saying that, but I won't let that allow or cause me to hesitate or push back.
Yeah. Well, what did making decisions look like in year one versus what they look like now?
Well, I mean, and I should say this, that leap of faith is truly a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And we started this business on a very nominal amount of money, and we both looked at each other and just like, if we fall on our face, it's not going to cause us to,
Yeah.
to crash.
Yeah.
And so,
But
we
we're
just
just so naive about things. It's
so
so funny
naive,
to think.
so
But I
naive.
think we needed to be naive in
Yeah.
order
Yeah.
to move
Or
forward.
you wouldn't have done it.
We wouldn't have done it.
No.
Right.
No. And I'll say this, it just momentum is a really big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
once you take like the first step and you see that it's semi-successful, whatever successful looks like, then you take the next step
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I'm creating a little bit of a pattern here.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've got everything figured out yet, but we're going to keep this thing going. And so a momentum was a really, really big deal. Now, with that being said, truly again, relating to my faith, I truly believe that it was the right time, the right opportunity. Um, and I just took one faith step after the other.
Yeah.
And so I just, in a lot of ways, just has felt like that God has just gifted us
Mm-hmm.
with this business, in a lot of different ways. And so I have to say that, because I truly feel that. Now, I also learned very, very early on that this clinic is so much bigger than what, in just she and I.
Right.
This
right.
was a, um, creating a business in itself. It's like not. I mean, it's going to sound a little bit weird, but it's like a child, right?
Yes.
And you're pouring into this, and you're like, well, that is an entity in itself, and so all the energy, all of the
Yep.
the focus, and all of the um, the sacrifice, and so it just kind of takes on a whole life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
And now we look back now and think, oh my gosh, how did we get here? And but just truly feel blessed.
Yeah.
I was going to also say, one of the other things between then and now is that we've been very selective in the people that we've surrounded ourselves with.
Mm.
And so,
Do you mean like working here or just like outside of here?
I mean, working here, we've been, as Matt said, we've been very blessed with the people that were
Yeah.
working here. But I think what I mean is the people that we use as sounding boards
Okay.
when we're making
Okay.
these sorts of decisions.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be excited because they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't understand the experience you're going through. And when it gets tough, they might tell you to quit. And so we have put people in our place in our lives who have had to make those sorts of decisions and be able to give us good advice,
Yeah.
not making the decision for us, but just, bringing up things that maybe we're blind to so that we're able to be the most wise when we kind of make
Yeah.
those decisions.
Well, I think that's hard too. Business owners are often look for people that they can talk to, but those people still don't have the vision that you have.
Mhm.
And so you do have to be careful because they could be putting water on your fire,
Absolutely.
you know?
I so appreciate you bringing that up, Abby, because I think that was probably early on. You were talking
Yeah.
about how we kind of make business decisions and that kind of thing, and that's such a great point because we learned really quickly that we needed to be here,
Yeah.
sharing our thoughts, ideas, our vision, because whenever we would bounce our ideas off of other people and people that we thought were, kind of
Yeah.
like would cheer us on,
Yeah.
it was really a kind of I don't even know how to describe it, just kind of a disappointing, kind of response in most cases.
Yeah.
And so, to Abby's point, really putting people in our lives and being intentional
Yeah.
about, those people who are also kind of going through similar things. Because there was a while that it was extremely lonely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And,
And
because
it's still like that sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you're always gonna have moments of that.
yeah, but we've also learned along the way that, really who can we really kind of, talk through
Mhm.
those things with. And if I can kind of even go a little bit further than that, about 2 years ago, I was introduced to a business coach,
Okay.
and I say business coach loosely because that's how it started.
Mhm.
But he he has spoken into my life. I meet with him about 2 times a month now, and it's kind of developed into this role of him kind of being more of a mentor.
Mhm.
And so we talk about business stuff, we talk about relational stuff as far as from a marriage perspective. We talk about just kind of what the future looks like as far as like, okay, what's your vision, what's your where are you going.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage anyone who's considering starting their own business to find someone that can coach you along the way.
Mm.
And I I likened it to when we first got started because we had kind of this astronomical growth over those first 12 months. And I likened it to like a 16-year-old that just got their license that was driving a Ferrari
Yeah.
and had no idea how to, how to keep it out of the ditch.
Right.
And I credit my business coach, my mentor, to really kind of keeping the business out of the ditch.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, it's grown way more than just from a business mentor.
Yeah.
And that relationship you might actually have to pay for too. It's kind of like marketing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's those expenses that you don't think you need to build into your budget, but man, it's the thing that keeps your business
Yeah.
going.
So I think people might not even know where to find someone like that because I know when I've heard business owners considering I guess they might look for a business coach that has it's just gotten it. But I think that's again something that I say a lot, even the person that's on a different level than you are, whether I don't even know that I like to say it above or below,
Sure.
just like a different place.
Yeah.
That could speak into you. Anyone can speak into you.
Mhm.
Like they might not even be in your same industry. They might not have ever been in your industry because everyone is always going to be figuring it out. But how does someone even find someone like that and not try to just qualify
It's
them?
it's a
You
great
know, are
question.
you good enough, or
Yeah,
do you know enough to be able to speak into my business?
sure. No, and I'll just kind of tell you about our how all of this happened for us.
Yeah.
I reached out to a really um, great friend that I've known literally for all my life, who's if I said his name, I mean he's well known here in Tulsa, and he he's a man of faith. He knows my background. Reached out to him. Was like, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Do you know someone that I could just meet with for, I don't know, 6 months or so?
Yeah.
And he I mean, got right back to me. It's like, it's this guy. And so,
And he knew him because he was doing
yeah,
business
no,
coaching?
yeah, because
Or
he
okay.
had some experience with him.
Okay.
And so I have to tell you about the first conversation with my mentor. So it was a telephone conversation, and we're talking along, and he's kind of giving me like his credentials. Like,
Okay.
hey, this is kind of what I do. This is who I have worked with. Kind of
Mhm.
like what you said. Don't know really if they have any experience in your space or not. This is kind of who I've worked with, and it was if you didn't know, I mean, you would think, oh my goodness, he's just kind of dropping names because it
Yeah.
was kind of like that kind of list. And I was like, hold on a second. I said, how would I qualify for you to meet with me? I mean, after he kind of told me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so here I am, just started, don't know anything or whatever. And he goes, well, do you love God? I said, yes. He goes, do you own a business? I said, yes. He goes, you qualify.
Yeah.
So, so I'm very gracious or grateful, that that he took a new entrepreneur like me,
Yeah.
and has kind of helped um, helped me along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to when you said the first 18 months of your opening,
Yeah.
running Divine, you weren't taking a paycheck. I think that that's enough time where some entrepreneurs might give up because they're like, I'm
Oh,
still not making money after 18 months.
yeah,
Well, speak
man.
to those people.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And again, just kind of reflecting, and I love this because it's causing me to think on things that I haven't thought about in a while.
Yeah.
Um, I would say really take it upon yourself to look at this as everything that comes back goes right back into the business.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like hands off,
Mhm.
right? Um, I'm not by nature a real big risk taker. And
Okay.
so I didn't just like burn the ships,
Yeah.
so to
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
whenever I went in. And so I kind of kept, just because of where we were, Abby, you were still in school or kind of pursuing, another degree. And
Okay.
so we still needed an income. And so um, I think that probably, as I look back, is probably one of the better things that we did.
Yeah.
And it did take a particular mindset that, yeah, I see that bank account growing. I still need to be hands off because the money that is the businesses, it's the businesses.
Right.
And that is what, I mean, we ran the business extremely lean for a very long time. And whenever I say that I answered the phone, I saw the patients, I booked patients, I took payment,
Clean the office.
clean the office, clean the toilets. I mean, for the first, several months, that's what I did.
Yeah.
And so, so it was, whenever I say it was a very humble start, I mean that. And,
Yeah.
but I also have known other entrepreneurs that have been like, take out a small business loan, and I'm just going to do it. That is not my particular makeup or chemistry when it comes to again just kind of taking those risks. So I wouldn't say that it has to be necessarily the way that I did it or that we did it. But it was something that we wanted to make sure that we got the business in a financial place that it had its best opportunity to
Mhm.
succeed.
Yeah. Well, I've had so many conversations with business owners, and one of the biggest lessons that they had to learn was the financial side of the business.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they're like, I just want to go do the business, which for you would be like seeing patients, all of that kind of stuff. But then all of that other stuff is the stuff they don't want to do. And so that's kind of their learning lessons. But by
Yes.
you being willing
Mhm.
to like let the business do that and having that figured out at the get go, it really did set it up to take off.
Um, Yes, it really did. And I will say um, that I'm going to say just kind of in that same 18-month, time frame that we're talking about, I learned a ton about myself.
Hmm.
I learned about my strengths. I learned about the things that I like to do, and I learned about the things that I absolutely hate. And so I think that what um, it's a very a look at I looked at myself in the mirror and it was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was glaringly obvious where my weak spots were,
Hmm.
right? And just being okay with that.
Yeah.
But then also taking that and being like, okay, so how do I take those weak points, those weaknesses in my, and I hate to say weaknesses, maybe I should just restate it as areas that I need help in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And hire people who love to do those things,
Yes.
right? And that's really where their strengths are. And I think that as you talk about kind of business leadership in general, I think the best leaders that I've ever been around, they have been humble enough to say, okay, I'm really, really good at this. I'm not so great at that. Let's hire people who are really, really good at this
Yeah.
in an area that I'm weak in.
Yeah.
And so, um, and those areas that I needed to improve upon were abundant. And
Right.
um, so our staff, and I would love to say that I've been like this amazing, person who's hiring and those types of things, but um, just some of the stories and how our staff got to be a part of our company have truly been nothing less than a miracle in itself. And
Yeah.
um, so yeah, just being okay with um, not having the thought that I have to be good at every
Yeah.
place that it takes to run a successful business.
Yeah. But knowing that you had to have someone.
Have to have
Yeah.
someone, and I did it as long as I could, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of we we went as long as we could without hurting the business before really knowing who to hire
Hmm.
and what that person looks like that um, that would fulfill those spots,
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
So, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing to add is the when you start to grow as either a leader or a business owner, you realize you only have 24 hours in a day,
That's
right?
right.
And
That's
so
right.
you have to maximize that time to the best of your ability. So if saving that money in that time is what you need to do in order for the business to thrive, that's the decision you make. But then you get to a point where your skill set has grown. Your time can be best spent growing the business somewhere else. I think that is when you make that decision to bring someone else on if you're able and you have the infrastructure to do
Yeah.
that. Um, so
Yes. Abby, what are some of the things that because you have worked at some other large organizations, what are some of those leadership things that translate to any business owner with any size of company?
yeah, I think one of the biggest things when Matt was talking that I was thinking about, and you kind of hit on this, was that a good leader knows that the only reason you're successful is because you have surrounded yourself with people who are good at what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
And so you hire slow, or no, you is that what it is? You hire slow and hire fast. So
Yes. Yeah.
that you so that you just have the best team that's helping you just work, because you as a leader, like I said, y- your time is what you're really kind of leveraging when you grow. And so you want a team that's able to kind of take those on, and that is kind of what we've learned, both in this
Yeah.
business but also in my other jobs as well.
Yeah.
If I can add to that, not to again just completely take over, but but I
Moves the
just
mic closer to his mouth.
but the realization too, and I've seen it and read about it, and in an early entrepreneur is that it so often happens that the thing that's holding the company back is yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so knowing, exactly what Abby just said, it's like knowing my capabilities, knowing, that I only have so much time.
Mm.
So I have to delegate. I have to make sure that I'm operating in those areas that best at.
Yeah.
And then handing off those duties to a person who really can take that on. And then really encouraging everyone around you to operate at the highest potential um, potential operating in a way that they're just always doing the best that they can possibly do in
Yeah.
that position.
And
Yeah.
I think part of that is also providing them opportunities to learn and grow as well. And so the only way is empowering your
Oh, yeah.
people to make those decisions. So I think sometimes you have to provide that space, because that was the other thing too, is we noticed that, some people were scared to make mistakes.
Mm.
And because we had already been through that, we're like, it's no big deal. Like, you're going to make mistakes. So
Right.
we want you to learn through this process. So here, you have the ability to make this decision. And if it's the wrong one, then we'll figure out how to make it better
Yeah.
in the future. So
Yeah. So you talked about hiring slow,
Mhm.
firing fast.
Mhm.
Is that something we can dig a little more into? Have y'all had to fire? Have you had situations where you had to kind of move people that were not a good fit for the business, for the culture, for the time, even that you had to move? I mean, is this something we can?
No. Yeah, we can. Thankfully,
I'm glad you took the mic for
yeah,
that one. So.
no, yeah, thankfully that this has not happened a lot.
Okay.
But one particular person we had hired for a position, we had our suspicions within the first 2 weeks.
Really?
And,
That fast?
that fast.
Wow.
And so the realization came, we were like, okay, we're going to play this out. We're going to give like a plan of improvement. Okay? We're going to make sure that this person knows the things that we absolutely have to have out of this position.
Yeah.
And if it's not being done, then we just can't work together.
Yeah.
And so so about a month, the work still stayed the same. There was no change, and we just kind of made that decision that it was not going to be a fit.
Yeah.
for us.
Well, and I think the other way to look at that too is that we want a position to fit both us and them.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't want somebody working for you who always feels like they're failing, who's
Mhm.
not excited to come to work. No. Are we always excited to come to work? Not always. But you want to like your job. And so if that's not a good fit, I think that is a bit of a kindness to say, hey, this is not a good fit for both of us.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's the type of conversation
Yeah.
you have.
But have the conversation quick.
But have the conversation quick. Don't and as a leader, that's the other thing that I've learned. I think we both have learned is that leaders make the hard decisions.
Yeah,
And so
100%.
you have the hard conversations
Yeah.
even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
And when you procrastinate, that's kind of when you make it worse.
You make it worse for them too.
And if I can kind of stay on that point just for a second, I've learned a ton from my business mentor, and one of the things that he has taught me, and I hear his voice, is when you are going to have that difficult conversation,
Yeah.
the first sentence needs to be exactly what your intentions are.
Mm.
So if that is you're planning to fire that person that day, the first sentence is we're going to go a different way. We're going to fire you
Start
today.
there.
Yeah, start there, because a lot of the times, and this speaks to me because I care for people. I love people.
Yeah.
And so in times past, it's made it very, very difficult to have very difficult conversations. And so he's helped me with that just tremendously. And it's just, hey, set them down, tell them what your intention is.
Yeah.
And then if you feel like you need to explain, then you can explain. Or if you need to, take those questions from that person, then that you give that opportunity. But just like Abby said, one of the things that he has always told me is like, hey, letting someone go gets them closer
Right.
to a position that actually works better for them.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that took so much pressure off of me thinking, oh my gosh, they're not going to have a job. They're not, maybe this is how it impacts their family or that kind of thing. No, it just gets them closer to
Yeah.
a job where they're going to flourish in.
Yeah.
So,
It's most likely someone who in the second week you're already like scratching your head
Yeah.
about them. They're probably not someone who's like, but I really loved it. I loved what I was doing here.
Right, exactly. That's
Well,
a
and
great
if they're
point.
saying that and we're still not getting it, then we need to question our leadership is in that too. So what are we doing wrong in
Yes.
this situation? So yeah.
Yeah. So Divine now, yes, it's in Sapulpa. It's a local business, but it's serving where all? I mean, you're not just serving clients in Oklahoma. Give a little
No,
more
yeah,
idea of the scale.
yeah. Thank you. So, and I'm gonna go back to the very, opening, as far as the year one. And so we were still during, it was during COVID, laws, as
Mhm.
far as like telehealth, and all that. So we could actually see patients in any state in
Okay.
the U.S. And so, what was really interesting as we first grew is that we would get these little pods, I call them pods, with groups of patients from different places throughout the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
right? So we had a pod in believe it or not, in Hollywood, California. And so we
Really?
saw, yeah, we saw
What?
some very high end, type of clientele, there, and then we saw some, in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Okay.
So in Texas, saw some in California, upper kind of Michigan, area as well. So, and then, laws changed, and so we had to go back to, being licensed in every state.
So when the laws changes
Mhm.
in, they just more restrictions with
Yes.
telehealth. Is that probably because a lot of more people with COVID were doing telehealth?
They changed the laws during COVID to make sure that we were able to get as many people in as possible, right?
Okay.
So they
Okay. Opened it.
yes, they
Opened
opened
Okay.
it
Okay.
for COVID just so that healthcare could kind of adjust to what the
Gotcha.
need was. Once that was managed, then they
Yes.
started closing
Okay.
and returning back to where they were.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so that it was kind of open range, so
Okay.
to speak. And so,
It's the Wild West.
it
No, I'm
was
joking.
it was a Wild West.
exactly.
But going back to, and Abby and I would joke and kind of laugh about it. It's like, if here we are in small town America,
Yeah.
seeing, patients that were, in very, very large cities,
Yeah.
and had very, very neat kind of job descriptions that they were, fulfilling. But, then things changed, went back to kind of where you had to be licensed, state
In
for
each
state.
state.
And so we hated that in one sense because
Mhm.
we had grown to really, enjoy, these patients that were out of state, and so
Mhm.
we just kind of had to be super creative, and so we started gaining licensure in several of the states, personally. And so we're in 11 states as far as our practitioners here,
Okay.
in the clinic. And then also we have a partnering, group that we, are a part of that allows us to see patients in all 50 states.
Oh wow.
And so,
Okay.
so technically, if there's a patient in New York, we can see them.
Uh-huh.
Florida, Washington, wherever, all the corners of the U.S. We can see them.
Wow. So technically you are a local business, but
Yep.
you're a national
That's right. Yep.
business as well.
Yep. Locally owned. We're not a part of a franchise,
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Is that something you'd want to look into in the future, or do you like the
Yeah,
model?
so, and we've talked about this, in it pertaining to a couple of different areas, and because we have thought about bringing on partners,
Uh-huh.
and, so going back to, we've never wanted the the experience to change for the
Yes.
patient. We've always, for lack of a better term, we've always wanted people to kind of feel that mom and pop,
Mhm.
like really warm, kind of, welcome, and we've been concerned as we have grown that people would lose that.
Yeah.
And so something that the business is known for, you don't want to get away from that. And so I think we protect that. We protect our culture with who we kind of partner with,
Yeah.
as well, and make sure that they match, what we feel like we're based on as
Yeah.
far as the business goes. Um,
So we've
so
always had the conversation of how do you scale that?
Yeah.
And-
How to
and-
scale that?
Yeah.
yeah, and you do run the risk, and we realize that you do run the risk of losing a little bit of that, but always putting those people in place that, and I, on day one, whenever we are looking to hire for someone in a position, we tell them very, very openly and candidly that in order to be a part of this company, you have to love others,
Hmm.
right? You have to do things with a very, very high level of integrity. Do the things that you say you're going to do and do it well. And then the other thing is that you have to get along with the other staff. And if you cannot do that, you absolutely will not, be a member here. And
Yeah.
so staff. And so we just always have to double down on really protecting that culture and really protecting what Divine is known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is probably a constant tension you have to balance.
It is, and because we've always said, and it's kind of cliche that people over profits,
Yeah.
and so and we still to this day believe that. At the end of the day, you still have to make profit in order to provide
Yeah.
jobs for our staff, and and that
But
is
but there could have been decisions. Well, we know there would have been decisions that we could have made in a different way that could have made us money,
Right.
but it would have sacrificed the things that our business stood for.
Yeah.
So
it's a really great point.
Yeah. So with entrepreneurship being what it is, it kind of can just bleed into every part of your life. Not to mention the fact that y'all do have other things that you guys get your hands in
Sure.
outside of Divine.
Sure.
So I think that's probably just the entrepreneurial spirit
It
that
is.
y'all have.
Mhm.
But how, with it being that way, how do you really protect? Speaking of protecting, how do you protect things like your marriage and your
Mm.
family? Like you do have 2 kids.
Mhm.
Yes.
So how do you protect that and kind of draw a line around that as you have all of these things that are 24/7
Yeah.
going on?
I think we're still learning that lesson, or not the lesson. I think we're still learning how to do that well, because you have to say no to good things in
Yeah.
order to say yes to great things. And so that is really hard, especially for someone who is an entrepreneur and wants to have those different experiences and be a part of different things. And so I think you have to, well, the advantage of being married and having this business is that we're able to bounce things off of
Mhm.
each other and have those conversations. So communication is key for us, constant communication. And sometimes you even have to plan that,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to necessarily have the time unless you carve it out to talk through what are next steps, what do we have going on now. And so we're learning how to do that, and we're learning how to say no to some of the things in our life that are really good, but maybe aren't the greatest things for this time in our
Yeah.
life.
Now I'll add to that. Abby has a love for travel, and which I love about her. And so, and it's really interesting because we will have a trip planned, and it always happens this way when it feels like kind of the wheels are getting a little bit wobbly.
Yep.
We'll have a trip.
Yep.
And it'll be us, and it'll be a great time for us to reconnect. And
Yeah.
so, and it doesn't have to be a trip. I mean, it can be
Time.
a date night,
Mhm.
or it could be whatever. But it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
Um, and it just, and again, just thinking about my mentor, as far as some of the things he's told me, is like everything can be falling down around you,
Mm.
except for your marriage,
Wow.
except for your
Wow.
family.
I think someone else I think you need to say that again. I
Yeah.
think people need to hear that.
Yeah, no, and I
Mm.
think it's a lesson that I think that um, as an entrepreneur, because you are driven, you
Mhm.
are, man, I'm willing to do whatever. I'm into this, and it can take over your life.
Yeah.
But everything can absolutely be falling down around you, but it cannot be your marriage.
Yeah.
It cannot be your family, because it's at the end of the day, it's not worth
Right.
giving up for.
Yeah. So many. I mean, I think that it's not just business owners who can, lose so much, but have a really great business. I mean, and that could happen to anyone, but I think business owners can experience that of, oh, but my business is doing so well,
Mhm.
but at the sacrifice of what?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it is. It's I don't know if there's because you hear like a work life balance, right?
Yeah.
And I would say, and Abby may have a different response, but I think that's seasonal,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
there's different times that we know we have to devote more energy towards
Yep.
one particular place.
Yep.
And We know if we're going to go into a busy season with the kids, and so we know that we have to kind of give and take a little bit in terms of our schedules, in terms of our efforts,
Yeah.
in terms of whatever that we're doing to invest in the business,
Mhm.
um, and so we, I would just say give yourself a lot of grace, and that's the thing that I've learned probably primarily within our marriage is making sure that you're giving yourself grace
And
Mhm.
your
and the
partner.
other partner, yeah. And so, because that's what it takes, man. You've got to be humble
Yeah.
within your marriage, and you've got to understand that no one has it figured out, and this is a work in progress.
Because
Um,
I would say starting a business with your partner, especially when you have two partners who lead differently, probably one of the hardest things you can do.
How
And
do you
so-
feel like you lead differently? Is it just the strength, like your natural giftings?
Yes. And I think we both want to go in and take charge, and you can't do that, especially when you have a staff and you're trying to make decisions. So I think much like a marriage, you have to realize that sometimes someone is going to have to be giving
Right.
80%, the other person's going to have to be giving 20%.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's down to how we even make decisions.
Mhm.
I am more of a risk taker. He wants to talk through things. I think sometimes when you delay making a decision, you miss out on opportunities. He doesn't feel that way, and so it just causes that
Yeah.
sort of frustration. So we
Well,
had to learn.
but I think that I know we use the word balance a lot, but I think that tension is actually a better word because it does have give and take.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be perfectly balanced. Not like work life isn't perfectly
Sure.
balanced, but it's like that pull, that push and pull.
Yeah.
That yeah.
No, I would, and here's what's really funny because we've been asked that question before, right? And I absolutely think, and I believe this 100% that she and I could be making like working on the same decision, and I think that we would come to the same conclusion,
hmm
but the way we got there
Yeah.
was like way different.
Yeah.
So, our approach, is completely different in a lot of ways. But I'm also, I do like to think deeply about those decisions. I
Yeah.
like to think, okay, what's plan A, B, even C type of situation, and so, but always be ready to act when necessary as well. So again, not allowing that to really paralyze you, to cause inaction,
Mhm.
but always be willing to kind of be working towards it. Where her approach sometimes is ready, shoot, aim.
Yeah.
That's a little different. That's a little different than in how that we.
Yeah.
come to this conclusion.
Well, I think it's good, but it is good to have both voices to slow down those that might jump the gun and to speed up those
Yeah.
that might just be stuck in the paralysis, or we called it paralysis of analysis. But I think that always it's good to have all your options on the table because sometimes we feel as a business owner there's times where you are made to feel like you're backed in a corner and you're like, well, I don't have a choice, I have to do this, or I have to pay for that, or I have to hire that. But whenever you get all your options on the table, then you can make a better decision because you're like, okay, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's an option.
Yeah.
And so I think that slowing down, because I tend to be the same way, I tend to kind of be like, all right, let's just do this. So it's good to have that slow down moment. But so if you were to go back and give one piece of advice for yourself when you were first starting Divine at almost 5 years in, what would that be?
I think one of the things I would say is this is going to look completely different than you
Mm.
think it's going to look.
Yeah.
Your successes sometimes they're going to be big and sometimes they're going to be small wins, and you have to celebrate that just as big as those really big wins.
Yeah.
And so you got to hang on because there's going to be some really hard times through this, and that's okay.
Yes, so,
Yeah.
That well, of course, like I've been, my answer is going to be a little bit lengthy because I think there's so much to this, right? I even like just kind of put myself, because even though it's 5 years ago, I can go back there very, very easily. And so, um, and I've already said it, but it's there's been such a difference between who I am and how I go about things now than what I was then. But I would say keep showing up.
Mhm.
Keep showing up. The small things that you do consistently are the things that create big change down the line.
So good.
And so even if it's 1%, and I actually kind of have like this unspoken kind of mantra or whatever you want to say is that my goal every day is to be 1% better than I was yesterday.
Mhm.
And I think that um, um, Atomic Habits, comes to the book Atomic Habits
Yeah.
by James Clear, I think.
Clear.
Yeah. Um, that has been kind of really really it's a book that I would recommend to anyone that is interested in being an entrepreneur. But and then give yourself a break. Don't be too tough on yourself. It's hard enough. And um, celebrate the small things. Celebrate the small victories. Um, because there's plenty of reasons, to be down on yourself, because you do see so much change, and you see things from a little different perspective. Um, but celebrate the small victories. Give yourself a ton of grace. Um, be willing to show up, um, and just keep moving forward and trusting God. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the kind of the main thing.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't really connect this, but since we're about to celebrate 5 years, what is on the horizons for Divine? What are things that you see coming down the line that you can share?
Yeah, no. So
Well, I
Okay,
will say
okay.
the
Yeah.
industry that we're in,
Uh-huh.
you have always got to be changing.
Oh, that's
Nothing
true.
stays the same. Healthcare, wellness, all
Yeah.
of that. And there's so many different things that play such a part in that. And so I think for us, it's always making sure that we are aware
Mm.
of those sorts of things and pivoting to where things are going. So I think we have things we would like to happen, goals we would like to happen, but at the end of the day, we can't really predict kind of
Yeah.
where some of this stuff is headed. But I don't know what you were going to add to that.
Yeah, no. A couple of different things actually. So two really quick points um, that I would also recommend is you talk about investing and you talk about being a good steward of of the company's money, the business money, everything, and that as a leader is super important. Always invest in yourself.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I bring it up now is even if you have felt that you've reached the pinnacle, that you've obtained every goal that you've ever set within the company, always be learning.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that is attending a business conference, if it is hiring someone to look into your business and say, okay, this is where I see that these are some areas that you really need to work on. And so and whenever I say that, I mean set aside money.
Yep.
Set aside money to invest in yourself as a leader so that you can come back and be able to have a clear vision for your company and where you're going. And even going back to your earlier question of what did that look like then versus now, allowing myself to think in those big thoughts, big goals, those things that are just crazy to kind of even consider or think about, and being okay with it, and just I think you have to be that kind of type of visionary,
Yeah.
or you don't leave yourself any room to grow. And
Yeah.
so I know it's a long answer to a short question, but where I see us going is I do see us scaling. We do have some very specific goals that we want to see. We do have some other projects that I won't name just yet, that we're working on, that allows Divine to be a little bit diversified, and allows a little bit of protection in terms of not just having all of our eggs in one basket,
Right.
so to speak. And so really working towards that, and it does kind of allow us to feel re-energized, because these are new ideas, these
Yeah.
are new things, and as Abby mentioned, always having to make sure that you are thinking 2 and 3 steps down the
Yeah.
line, and whether those are goals that are just patient number goals, or it is a goal of, hey, we're going to have another brick and mortar in another location,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And so I think you always have those things that are the 1 year, 5 year, 10 year goals, and it always being kind of clear as where you're going.
And they're good. They're good to, it's a good target to have. Why not put it at by the time we're 5 years old or whatever? It's a good target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one question I always like to ask as we wrap up is, what is one thing you don't have fully figured out, but you're building through anyway? Because that's the truth. We're always building.
Oh, for sure.
I'll let you answer
Yeah.
that.
No, I think that there are areas, and there's numerous that come to mind just as we kind of think through this, but there are, and they're more personal actually, as
Mhm.
far as like where I'm kind of wanting to go. But I want to be a better communicator. I want to be personally, I want to be more on top of things, and really learning, continuing to learn, what that looks like to be a business owner, um, and being able to replicate that, and being able to, teach someone that's coming behind me. And what I would say too is, for anyone listening that has like that inkling of a desire to open their own business, go for it. Go for it. Because I would rather, and this was me personally, I would rather have started and fallen on my face than get 10 years down the line and say, I wish I would have.
Right. I mean, can you even imagine if you were still in primary care right now?
No, man.
We ask ourselves
Oh,
that
my
question
word.
sometimes.
We think, we think about that, and I still get those pinch me moments.
Yeah.
Even now, 5 years down the road, I'm like, is this real?
Yeah.
And I think too, it was because that I never allowed myself to think in such big. And this is, and I have to say this because this is where Abby has really, really helped me, and she's allowed me to think in these just big ways, and provided me the space, to be able to do that. And so it truly has just kind of allowed me to just kind of step right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might sound like cliche, but it goes back to what we've probably heard since we were kids of dream big.
Yeah.
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 No, for sure.
But you hear that and you don't realize what that actually looks like in everyday life, right?
Yeah.
That you have to make those hard decisions every single day. And sometimes you have to sit in those really uncomfortable moments. But on the other side of that, there's these really beautiful things that you get to experience that you never thought you would be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead and tell us if someone's looking to connect with Divine, find out more about Divine, where can they find you all online or in person, I guess, too?
Yeah, so we're on all the socials, Facebook, and then we have kind of, that something that's coming, like I said, is that if there are going to be kind of some other things that are coming,
Cool.
that
Stay tuned.
Yes,
Exactly,
stay tuned.
exactly.
I'm setting
So
that
follow us if you don't.
setting that hook out there, just to
Yeah.
see if you'll nibble. But and then you can call the clinic if you're in the state of Oklahoma. Telehealth is always available. We do have actually a brick and mortar in here in Sapulpa, downtown Sapulpa. They can call us at 918-347-9022 to make an appointment, or you can go to our website as well, divinehealth.live, and schedule an appointment there too. Or just go and if you're curious as to all the things that we offer, you can go to our website.
And it'll be linked too, so be sure to check them out.
Yep.
But that is it for this session of The Back Office. If this conversation gave you clarity, a new angle, or even just the reminder that you're not the only one navigating this, then it did its job. Take what's useful, apply it, move on it, because no one has it fully figured out, but we are building anyway. And if you found it valuable, share it with another operator who is also building. And you can always hang out with us in between sessions at Signify Marketing Social. I'm Dalayna Dillon, and we will see you back here next time.